Nietzsche and postmodernists say truth does not matter. I somewhat agree. In pragmatism, which I've talked about before with Richard Rorty, right? It's a philosophy in which truth is measured based on how practically applicable a claim or theory is in real life. So, an example could be I think this car works. I try it. It starts and runs. To pragmatists, this means that the car works. So, pragmatists also, though, sometimes say the truth of whether God exists or not does not matter. There are different kinds of pragmatists. There are many Christians ones and there are atheist ones. So, probably the most seminal figure in pragmatism, I'd say, is William James, arguably anyway. He was a Christian, but philosopher Charles Peirce, pronounced Peirce, but spelled Pierce, like Pierce Brosnan, aka 90s and early 2000s Bond. He was the actual founder of pragmatism. So anyway, Richard Rorty's an atheist, and the other guy he wrote this book with, Gianni Vattimo, was a contemporary Catholic philosopher. Rorty and Vattimo wrote The Future of Religion. They talk about the famous 1800s existentialist philosopher, which everyone's heard of, Nietzsche, who went insane later in life, as a lot of people know. So to oversimplify, existentialism says you choose your own meaning in life. Nietzsche's existentialism sometimes gets conflated with nihilism. In both existentialism and nihilism, they conclude that there's no objective meaning in life. The difference is that nihilists despair about lack of meaning in life, while existentialists use lack of meaning as a reason to choose your own meaning that works for you. Existentialists see lack of meaning as the freedom to choose your own meaning in life. So obviously, one of Nietzsche's most renowned ideas is his quote-unquote death of God. He didn't mean the literal death of God, of course. He meant the secularization of culture with the decline of religion. Religion played less and less of a role in people's lives during the Enlightenment rationalism in 1600s to 1800s Europe. Nietzsche wasn't critical of the death of God, since he was essentially a militant atheist before it was a term, so he wasn't complaining about it, it was an observation. So Rorty and Vattimo correctly observed, I'd say, that the death of God opened the door for something to fill the void of religion. In the philosophy of religion, hermeneutics basically means biblical interpretation. It can be interpretation of other texts and ideas, but it's usually the Bible. So Rorty and Vattimo claim that Nietzsche's death of God killed objective truth. Rorty and Vattimo say the death of God and truth allowed them to create a religion without God or metaphysics. Remember, metaphysics is essentially the philosophical study and speculation about the cosmic nature of the universe, long before astrophysics. So it gets into abstract concepts like the nature of God, being, substance, time, space, or knowledge, aka epistemology. Epistemology is its own separate branch of philosophy, but it's also usually involved with metaphysics, of course. Logos, that Jordan Peterson talks about all the time, the logos, is a somewhat complex and inconsistently defined. He never gets it correct. Well, maybe occasionally. But anyway, it can mean the divine word in order of God through revelation of reason. The logos is usually translated from Greek as the word. Remember, Vattimo agreed with Rorty that Nietzsche's death of God opened the door for a new and more secular religion. Rorty used what Vattimo calls anti-foundational pragmatism, which I like. Rorty used hermeneutics or interpretation to create a religion without a metaphysical God by using a more pragmatic definition of truth. It's more useful for many people to follow religion without strict rules or a really specifically defined metaphysical God. So the religion can still work for them even if they go against the logos or divine word and order of God. We can discover the logos or the word of God through dialogue and reason without being obsessed or even necessarily caring much about truth or dialogue or reason, or not dialogue or reason, about truth. So, follow whatever fucking personal religion you want for yourself, but just do whatever works for you. In terms of religion, truth doesn't fucking matter in our postmodernist society.